Hello. Hi. In just a second, we'll be sharing the tea on nonprofits and social media. But if you don't know me, I'm Sabrina Walker Hernandez. I'm the founder of Supporting World Hope, a nonprofit consulting company. I started in the nonprofit industry about 25 years ago. And we have with us today Daniel Rivera, the owner of Trigger Media and Grindstone Co-working. So before we get started, click the wow or heart button if you can hear me and if I'm loud and clear, and let me know where you're watching from, even if you're watching on rebroadcast. So, Daniel, tell me a little bit about your community involvement and your background in social media.
So, community involvement. So I met Sabrina, I can't even remember how long ago. Maybe
it's been a while now, right?
Yeah, it had to be.
We can know.
Yeah, maybe like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
One of my good friends told me about the Boys and Girls Club of Edinburgh board and said that it'd be a good idea if I joined. And at the time I was teaching, and so I decided that I wanted to get more involved. And so I joined the board, and I met Sabrina there. And so been at it for 6 years now. It's crazy.
It's kind of crazy.
Can't believe it's been that long. And then I, in the middle of that, I was like transitioning into opening my own businesses. Yes. And I opened up Grindstone Co-working in 15. I was doing a lot of homework before. Right. And then, soon after that, I opened up Triggers Media. And so I was really trying to figure out, at the time, social media was kind of still evolving. Right. It's always evolving, but it was very, very new. And Facebook had just launched their business pages, and they were kind of dabbling into like that world. Mm-hmm. And that's when they started releasing the boost button and different things like that. Right. And so I was really intrigued with that stuff and really started kind of diving deeply into what digital marketing was and how social media was affecting that.
Right. And I think nonprofits are still learning about social media. And so I think this episode is going to be great for them because there's so many social medias out there. So which social media platform should nonprofits be using, in your opinion?
So those are all pointed questions. And so I think one of the things you have to analyze with any question having to do with social media is reverse engineering what the goal is. Okay. So thinking about what your goal is and then figuring out how to get to that goal. Okay. And so if you think about social media platforms, each one is a little bit different. Right. There's different types of storytelling you can do on those. Okay. And so figuring out what's your goal marketing wise. Okay. Where does your audience live? And then how do you achieve those goals? Okay. So it's very easy to just say Facebook or Instagram or whatever, because they're popular. But if your audience doesn't live in that space, then it doesn't really matter. Right.
So you got to know who your audience is, exactly. And then determine what social media platform you get on. Exactly. So as a nonprofit, I would say, for me, when I was in the nonprofit world, it was always about the donor. And so in my head, and maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me how to research this, in my head, Facebook crowd is getting older. Yes. So those traditionally are your donors, whereas Instagram might be a little bit younger. It might not necessarily be your donors, but they could be your volunteers. Exactly. Is that how you kind of...
Yeah, definitely. I think Facebook is starting to shift over to an older demographic. You'll hear kids say my grandma's on Facebook. And so there's still a really good, especially here in the Valley, a really big base of Facebook users. Okay. And I think also depending on the kind of content that you're putting out. So Facebook would be really good for an older demographic. Okay. And just in general, Instagram is getting more and more popular. Okay. And stories on Instagram are really kind of on fire right now.
Okay. So what content should a nonprofit share on social media?
I think number one, content is king. So you have to be putting content out. But the other thing is you're fighting against a lot of noise. Right. And so how do you stand out from the crowd, and how do you really build a foundation to get people to pay attention to what you're saying? Mm-hmm. The very easy things are education and entertainment. So any content that you're putting out should be either educational or entertaining, so that when people are watching, you get their attention and they continue to watch. Okay. And so storytelling is really important. Okay. So what are the stories that you're telling, and how are you continue to touch on the points of what your brand represents.
Okay. So when you say storytelling, give me a little bit more about that.
Because
I'm learning myself as we sit here.
So I think, I think for the Boys and Girls Club, for example, instead of just talking about like a program, you can talk about how that's like a story of a certain club kid.
Okay.
When they came into the program, how did that program change them?
Okay.
And so now that tugs on emotional strings, it
Okay.
really helps people connect.
Okay.
And it's not just, hey, we have this
Great
program that's,
how
really
does that
cool.
program-
You should donate and help it out.
Okay.
Let's talk about this, 5th grade student who's now in 6th grade and more confident, and her
Okay.
grades have gone up, and
Okay.
and different things.
So you use social media to humanize the service that the nonprofit is delivering.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. How often, and this is a good one, how often and what time should you share on social media?
It's a good question.
Because everybody says something different.
Yeah, I think back in the day, like people were really analyzing like peak times, and there's different like apps and programs that you can use that are going to tell you, you get more engagement by posting at 3 o'clock instead of 5, or
Right.
different things like that.
Right.
I think one of the things is you don't have to. There's no like rule of thumb where you have to post 5 times a day,
There's
or
no
10 times a
magic?
day, or 1 time.
What
a day.
about for people like me who like magic, like boom, 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 so I can do it? There's nothing.
No, you can. I mean,
Okay.
you should be. You should be relevant. You should be
Okay.
present. You should
Okay.
be able to, educate and entertain people.
Okay.
But I don't think that, like the 1 time a day or once in the morning, once in the afternoon is like a cookie cutter rule that everyone should be following. You should
Okay.
really analyze the content that you're putting out. Make sure that it's good content, relevant, and that you're really helping move the brand forward. If you're
Okay.
just posting like
Just to
trash,
post,
just to
right.
post, then you might be doing more harm
Okay.
than good.
So I know I want to know what algorithms are, but is there a such thing as posting too much? Does that affect the algorithm? What is algorithms?
So the algorithm is basically this equation that no one really knows what it is.
Okay.
There's like a bunch of different factors that go into
Okay.
the Facebook algorithm
Okay.
or the Instagram algorithm
Okay.
or whatnot, and it's it's making calculations to determine what's going to show up on a person's feed.
Okay.
So my feed's going to be different than your feed. If I'm constantly watching soccer highlights, for example,
Okay.
then the Facebook algorithm is going to say, okay, Daniel wants to see soccer highlights. Let me feed him more soccer highlights.
Those are those suggested posts
Exactly.
that you
And those
get.
are based off of your likes, your comments, your shares,
Okay. Okay.
how you're interacting with stuff.
Okay.
And so, as a business or as a nonprofit or as someone trying to market, you're
Okay.
trying to get stuff to be algorithm friendly and get
Right.
in front of people.
Right.
And so, I think one of those things is creating things that are shareable, right? You can trick someone into liking something. You really can't trick someone into sharing something.
Right.
So, a lot of people will do those like clickbaits of like, click on this to see what happens next,
That's
or whatever. You get people to click into those
Right.
things. But if something's really compelling, you tell a really good story, something really funny happens, people will just reach for that share button and share it. And so
Okay.
when something's shared or when it becomes shareable, like that helps get into the algorithm like
Okay.
faster for more people.
Okay.
But the algorithm is like not really anything you can hack, or there's
Okay.
there's no like special sauce for like
Okay.
really, tricking
Make it.
Facebook into
Right.
like getting your stuff in front of more people.
Okay. And that's why you say content is king, because it's the content that's going to get people to share or
Yes.
like, and so I know you, and this is not on question list, but I do have one. Now you always talk about repurpose your content.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So I think in general, content takes time and creativity, right? And
Okay.
so to develop a post, to develop a video, to come up with something to say, people kind of spin their wheels on, and you finally come up with something to say. Like if you're writing a blog post, or if you're writing, if we're doing this Facebook Live video,
Okay.
like this is content.
Okay.
It takes time and effort.
Okay.
The other thing is you don't have to just stop with that one thing. Like this Facebook Live video, we could create multiple Instagram posts. We can take
Okay.
quotes from this.
Oh,
We
okay.
can write a blog post wrap up of what we learned
Okay.
from this. And so
Yeah.
using this
I might
one
do
piece
that.
of content,
I'm
we
struggling
can
for content.
repurpose this
Okay.
video and make it last
Okay.
a little bit longer.
Okay.
And so now instead of like, really banging our head against the wall trying to figure out what am I going to
What are
post
you going to
tomorrow,
post? Yeah.
I just use this pillar piece of content and then repurpose and
Huh.
derive micro pieces of content from this content.
Okay, that makes sense. So, hey, if you're just joining us, welcome to the broadcast. We're currently talking about social media for nonprofits. We've just covered algorithms, which I didn't know what they were, and we talked about the different platforms. Let us know where you're watching from, and click wow or heart button if you can hear me loud and clear. Please just let us know. So, what are hashtags, and how do they work, and why do nonprofits need them?
Okay, so hashtags they started getting really popular with Twitter when Twitter first came out.
Okay.
And so it was a way to kind of categorize conversations or posts.
Okay.
And so using like the hashtag sign or the pound sign,
Mm-hmm.
and then adding something after that, will kind of categorize that into, a topic.
Okay.
And so if we were watching, the World Cup over the weekend, you could go onto Twitter, or you could go onto Instagram, you could go onto Facebook also,
Right.
and find like the official World Cup hashtag.
Okay.
Click on it and see all the relevant posts according to that.
Okay.
So on Instagram and on Twitter, people use hashtags a lot to try to get in front of other people who are looking for those conversations. So if we were talking about nonprofits, we might put like a hashtag nonprofits sign at the end, and be able to get in front of like a global audience who's talking about nonprofits.
Okay.
People will also use hashtags for like location tags.
Okay.
So, a location tag and a hashtag on Instagram are pretty similar. So
Okay.
if I hashtag Edinburgh or hashtag RGV, I'll see other people who are hashtagging their posts with the same thing.
Okay, that makes
Or
sense.
you could go into the location and see posts within those locations that are also geotagged.
Okay, so it's geotag, hashtag, and depending on where you are, you put your location.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so you can even look at it yourself, like on your own Instagram feed, for example. If you had, 3 different programs within an organization, you could start creating your own hashtag for those programs.
Okay.
And so then at the end of the year, you could go back and click on program number 1 hashtag, and it would filter all your posts for that one program.
Okay.
Or you could ask attendees to use that certain hashtag, so when they're posting on social, you can go back and look through the attendees' posts.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
You'll see a lot of the conferences.
Okay.
So conference will create their own hashtag. And it's like, please use your hashtag for the conference so that we can share.
Okay. I never kind of knew what it was. I know that you see hashtags more on LinkedIn or Instagram as opposed to Facebook. I don't see as much hashtags on Facebook, so I didn't know exactly what it was for. So I'm going to go back a little bit. You're talking about increased engagement. I did a little test over the weekend. I uploaded a video to YouTube and put the link on my Facebook, and then I actually uploaded it to Facebook. I got more hits on Facebook than people didn't click the links, but I do notice when I add video that I get a whole lot more engagement. So can you tell me ways that people are using video, or what do you suggest for nonprofits to use video?
Yeah, so I think video is really, really important.
Okay.
For a couple of different reasons. Number one, native video is important. So when native video means when you post a video, you're posting it natively within that platform.
Okay.
Because that platform's algorithm is going to give favor to something that's native versus that's not.
Okay, got
So if I post a YouTube link on Facebook, Facebook and YouTube are competitors.
So they're not going to really
YouTube
promote
is
it.
Google, Facebook is Facebook.
Okay.
And so Facebook's going to give preference to a video that's already living on Facebook versus a video that's a link to YouTube.
Okay.
They don't want you getting off of their platform.
Got it. Okay.
So they'll kind of suppress. They've been known to, everyone thinks that they're really suppressing links that are shooting you off.
Okay.
So if you post a link to LinkedIn on Facebook, they don't want you to go to LinkedIn, they want you to stay on Facebook.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So that's one thing.
Okay.
2, a hit or a view on different platforms is measured differently.
Okay.
So whenever you're watching a Facebook video that's live or not live and you see views, people get really excited, but those are really vanity metrics. Facebook view is only 3 seconds.
Oh.
So when you see like
Darn.
when you see 10,000 views, it could
Yeah.
be 10,000 people seeing it only for 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Okay.
And
Well,
then
I was
moving
feeling
on.
good about myself with my
So
videos.
one of the things you can do is you can actually go into on your business page and go into the back end of Facebook and see your watch times.
Okay.
So you can see average watch times. You can see how many total seconds have been viewed, minutes. You can
Okay.
see. You can even see a graph that's going to show you where people drop off.
Okay.
So if you're creating videos and you really want to catch people's attention, and you're not getting to the point until 45 seconds out of a minute video, and you see everyone dropping off at 15 seconds, then most people didn't see your message.
Okay, so
you can analyze that.
Okay, so I also, without analyzing, what I hear you saying is front load your message as a nonprofit, front load it up front.
Or you could do like really clickbaity hook stuff to like stay tuned for the end because we're going to give away $1 million.
Okay. And then people will stay to the end because it's $1 million. No, we're not nonprofits. We're not giving away, but that's a good one.
But you could get people to like stay to the end or watch the end for making sure that they're going to, we're going to give out a certain link at the end so you can download this freebie that we're giving away.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Okay.
A YouTube watch is 30 seconds.
Okay.
So
they really have to be
They really have to be invested into watching that video.
Okay.
And the difference is like on YouTube, people are there to watch videos, and on Facebook, not necessarily.
Okay.
Sometimes people are just killing time on Facebook, and they're fed a video, and then you kind of fall into the rabbit hole of watching that video.
Okay.
But it's very easy to get distracted on Facebook, and it's very easy to swipe up to the next one,
the next one. Okay.
So you got to pick your spots.
Okay, makes sense. What is SOEs? Well, what are SOEs?
SEO?
SEO, yeah.
SEO.
So SOEs are something totally different. What is SEO?
SEO is search engine optimization.
Okay.
So search engine optimization, the search engine is something like Google. It's like the most popular one, right? Yahoo, Bing.
Okay.
So when you talk about SEO, that's more of like a website strategy.
Okay.
And so when someone's searching for something on a search engine, they're very intentional, right? So marketing wise, if someone, for example, someone's looking for a plumber or someone's looking for window repair or something like that, they're gonna go to Google and they're gonna type window repair McAllen, Texas.
Okay.
They're very search based, and then at that point you want to make sure that your website is optimized so that you pop up.
Right. So how
first.
do you do that?
So there's a million different tactics for that.
Okay.
There's organic and paid.
Okay.
And so organic means that you're just doing the right things all the time and you're not paying money, but certain things for like websites, they have to be mobile friendly.
Okay.
So if your website's not mobile friendly, like Google will like ding points off the algorithm on your part and like lower your score.
Okay.
So you kind of you're getting graded by the search engines on how relevant and how important you are.
Okay.
So ratings, for example, like how many ratings do you have on Google is gonna like help out. If I have 100 reviews on my plumbing service and you have one review, then obviously more people use mine and your plumbing service will go down, mine will go up.
Okay.
If you have a Google My Business card, if you have a location, if you have a website that's mobile friendly, if you're putting out content that's relevant, so you're putting out blog posts, your meta tags on your website, all this like very technical stuff that goes into like the coding of the website. When Google sends out its like little crawlers to see like, let me see what this website's all about, the easier you make it for them to categorize what you're doing and you're using certain keywords within your website, then it's going to elevate your SEO.
Okay.
If you're not doing those things, if your website's, from 1999, it's not mobile friendly, you can't load fast on an iPhone. Most people are checking websites on cell phones now.
Right.
And so if someone's, out and about on 4G or 3G or whatever, looking for something on your website and it doesn't load on their phone, then people are going to bounce off of it.
Got it.
So Google deducts points for that. And so there's a bunch of little things that go into that are organic.
Okay.
And then on the paid side of things, you can pay money to be on top.
Okay.
And so then you get into a bidding war against your competitors.
Is it worth paying money to?
It depends on what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. And so, I think, very crowded industries are going to be like attorneys and, real estate.
Okay.
But if someone's, if it's Boys and Girls Club Edinburgh trying to come up first for Boys and Girls Club, you're not really competing against a whole lot. Like it's going to pop up right away.
Okay.
It might not make sense to pay.
Okay, got it. So should a nonprofit pay for social media ads?
So, social media and SEO are different. So should they pay for SEO? Probably not. Unless you can come up with a scenario where someone's intently going to Google or Bing or Yahoo or whatever and typing very intent-based something. And most people are probably trying to get donors. Okay. So that doesn't really, you can't find a scenario where that makes sense right now.
Okay, got it.
Should you pay for social media ads? I think yes.
Okay. Which platform though?
Back to the audience thing. It depends where your audience is. There are more expensive platforms than others. So Facebook is becoming more expensive, but it's still a bargain. Instagram is a steal right now. Snapchat's very expensive. YouTube's very expensive. So it depends on your audience, but Facebook and Instagram, I would say, is your more bang for your buck, and it makes a lot of sense.
I have one more question. So when they have like those suggested ads for you, should you just use those suggestions, or should you do a little research in what to advertise, or have they already done that on the back end?
I think you should really have a strategy that you're implementing for your nonprofit. So, whether it's an awareness-based strategy, you're trying to bring awareness to your nonprofit, or the programs that you're doing, or you may have an event coming up. And so I think, a really solid strategy and Facebook ad spend for a nonprofit is going to do a lot of the legwork for you. You could have 10,000 likes on your page, and you post something and not 10,000 people see it. Like Facebook's going to suppress it. They want you to spend money. So if you're running perpetual ads, which I think everyone should be doing.
You think everyone should
you should be running ads on a daily basis. You should come up with a budget for your nonprofit to run ads every single day of the year. Like how much can we budget? And the minimum is $1 per day. So, if a nonprofit can do $365 for the year, that's a start.
And that's good.
And so, and then just working that up into, can we get to $5 a day? Can we get to $10 a day? And then what is the purpose of that? And you just start creating a lot of awareness for what you're doing, and then slowly moving people into, a call to action. Now it's time to, we have this big event coming up, our big fundraiser. Look at all the work we've been doing. We create all this awareness for it. Now when we go ask a donor to, to contribute, they may have already seen our ads. They've already seen the good work that the nonprofit's doing, and it'll be easier for them to say yes, versus not knowing what you're doing, not hearing from you all year long, not ever seeing a Facebook post or Instagram post because they don't follow you or it just never came across it. If you can run those ads all year long, and then all of a sudden, more people know.
I got one more question. I know it's not on the list, but you're very educated on this topic. Is there a difference between boost and ads?
Yes.
Which one would you invest your dollars in?
Boosting is expensive, and it's like the quick, easy way of Facebook trying to take your money.
I didn't know that.
It's like a very simplified version of an ad. So they make it very easy, so you can just click that button, and we actually wrote a book called Beyond the Boost.
And where do we find that? Where do we find that book?
You can message our Triggers Media page, and we'll send you a free copy of our book. But so Beyond the Boost is basically explaining how to develop a strategy and funnels so that your ad spend makes more sense and it costs you less money. So on a boost, you may, depending on the demographics and stuff, you may be spending a lot more money than you should be on the same views or on the same objectives and goals on a Facebook ad.
Well, thank you for that information. If you're just joining us and you have any questions, my assistant need to check and see if we have any questions on the screen to answer. No questions at this time. No problem. I would like you to continue to ask questions even on the rebroadcast because Daniel is willing to answer some of those questions. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
I learned a lot personally, so that helps. I always learn a lot from Daniel. Daniel doesn't know it, but he's my mentor. I think you know it. I think I called you out on it. He's my mentor. Every time I have a social media question or video question or something like that, I always come to Daniel. If you don't know where he is, he's at Grindstone here in Edinburgh at 506 West University. I encourage you to come and visit his place. Also, join me on August the 23rd, where we'll be sipping tea with Rocio Puente Mata from Faith Spark Passion about grant writing. Everybody always asks about grant writing. You can get a notification the next time I go live by tapping the follow button. You can also follow me on Instagram at RGV Nonprofit Expert and LinkedIn at Supporting World Hope. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that's Sipping Tea with Sabrina. See you next time.